All right, guys, we're going to get right into this situation here, man. We got some bad news coming out of the Iran nuclear deal negotiations, guys. It is looking real bad, right? So there have been talks throughout the day that the negotiations are either stalling or coming to a failure. And so there have been, reports that Israel's preparing a strike on the nuclear facilities, like a lone wolf strike on the facilities if the talks on Sunday don't go anywhere, right? So there's one more talk. There's like a final meet between Steve Witkoff, Trump's Middle East envoy, and Iran to try and come to a common ground. Now, Netanyahu's been calling Donald Trump throughout the week and saying, hey, we don't want you negotiating anymore. Our red line was we don't want Iran enriching uranium at all, not even the internationally allowed 3.67% for energy means, right? We don't want them even doing that, right? We want the IAEA to go in there and make sure that their entire facilities are dismantled. And by the way, the last regime to do that was the Gaddafi regime, and we saw how that ended. Right, he was sodomized in the middle of the street 2 months later by under the guise of Barack Obama. So essentially, what's happening now is they're both throwing shots at each other. Israel saying, "Hey, we're going to strike." Iran saying, "We're going to strike U.S. bases. It'll be a destructive response." So what happened today was, and this was being reported everywhere, that a lot of the non-essential workers and personnel in the Middle East, as reported by Reuters here, have been evacuated, right? So they told all their personnel and non-essential personnel, people who don't necessarily have to be there, postal personnel from the Middle East amid rising tensions with Iran. So U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday U.S. personnel were being moved out of the Middle East because it could be a dangerous place. So that's what Trump is saying, adding that the United States would not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So Trump's, Trump is attempting, as much as I don't like Trump, I think he's attempting to negotiate some type of deal so it won't go into a full-blown war, because that'll be bad for the U.S. and everyone in that region. We don't even want to talk about the economic implications, but so he's attempting to do that. But he took $100 million from Adelson, right? So he's obviously been purchased. Okay, so he has to he has certain people that he has to cater to, because essentially they bought him out, right? Adelson's bought him out. So Trump is now doing what he does best, and act like he has everything under control, but really nothing's under control. So then we got an interesting report here, guys, where the IAEA, right, which is a very corrupt organization, guys, because these people allow Israel to have nuclear weapons, right, without having to check in with them, but not Iran, right, and these other places. So now the IAEA is saying, hey, Iran is now non-compliant with safeguarding nuclear energy, right? So they're saying pretty much it essentially means that they're not complying with what they agreed on. And this is a UN body, by the way. And so now Iran looks like this rabid rogue state where now it's illegal. Now they're making it seem like, okay, now their nuclear facilities are illegal, even though this hasn't happened in 20 years, guys, right? So we all know it's bullshit. We know who's behind it. And then another interesting situation happened, right, where there were reports that Iran did this massive cyber attack on Israel, where they got so much different pieces of information from Israel about their nuclear program and certain things that certain operations and stuff like that that they've done to ensure that, you know, their nuclear program is being continues to be hidden, and then they run a refocus the global international like guys on to specifically focus on Iran, right? And so they've been getting away with having nuclear weapons for years. We all know that history. We're not going to get into it, where how they stole it and all that shit. So what's happening now is Iran is releasing like bits and pieces of information of all these documents, right? Because these are like this is probably one of the biggest cyber attacks that was conducted on Israel. This is kind of what sparked everything. So when Iran did this, then the IAEA said, okay, they're non-compliant. Now Saint Netanyahu's calling Trump like, hey, we got to go. I don't want you. I think Netanyahu told Trump verbatim, like, you better not negotiate with Iran anymore. Some shit like that. And then Trump told him, don't attack Iran. And then people were saying they got heated and they shut the phone on each other. Obviously, we know their relationship's a little bit strange. Okay, we don't know if they're playing or it's some serious shit where they're really strained, you know, because again, Trump took that $100 million. You know, he's a big old fat pig. So we know how Trump gets down, and, you know. So what's happened now is one of the documents, guys, actually shows that that the IAEA released names of nuclear scientists to Israel, many of whom were later assassinated or died under mysterious circumstances. Then they found out that India, too, has lost hundreds of nuclear scientists to unnatural deaths since 2009. And they started sharing names and data of staff and civilian nuclear sites under the IAEA Safeguard Pact. So the IAEA has been dangerously compromised, guys. Essentially, that's what the reports are saying, right? And so they name dropped Iran's nuclear science because they were having a problem where a lot of their nuclear scientists would end up dead, like, or disappear or whatever. So Iran was trying to figure out like who's behind this shit, right? And so the UN body, the IAEA, where they have to report a lot of these people's information there. Israel, they were dropping information to Israel, and Israel was assassinating these people. So now it's like, all the people in Iran who were kind of like, we should sit and negotiate with the West, we should sit and negotiate with the IAEA, and, you know, we're one big old family, and let's talk it out. Now they lose all legitimacy because it's like these people essentially are compromised. They worked against your government, and they got people in your country killed, right? Innocent people, scientists, and things of that nature killed simply for, you know, doing something that they weren't doing really anything illegal because they were compliant with IAEA for 20 years, right? So now, why would you let the IAEA into your country to inspect or do anything? You know? So now the naysayers and the guys are like, hey, let's just sit and talk to let's just sit and conversate with the West. They lose all legitimacy in Iran, right? So yeah, man. Real shady shit coming out of this situation, man. Real shady shit. And by the way, like, they've already studied the situation. There's no way that they can fully dismantle all their nuclear facilities. So Iran's they're smart fucking people, man. Like, it's not, you're not talking about like, you know, this isn't like Iraq in 2003. Like, these people got their shit packed down. They studied the entire region, and they know all the games that the West and all these people play. So they don't just have one specific nuclear facility, and they don't have one they have hundreds, even if not thousands, of these facilities and these missile cities, they call them, throughout the entire region, right? So again, this is all again coming right in time where Netanyahu's coalition is about to be voted out. So essentially, like, a lot of people kind of hide what's going on in Israel because Israel's coming to a point where Netanyahu's coalition is about to be dismantled. He's actually about to be voted out democratically, and so Netanyahu does not want to really lose power. So what Netanyahu has to do is to continue being in a state of war to avoid that from happening, right? Obviously, Gaza's not a threat now, but now if you add Iran to the mix, now it's like they got no time for elections. They have no time for caring what to be honest with you, who gives a fuck what they want, but the people of Israel, right? So now it's a situation where Iran has to be a little bit sneaky, and Israel has to sneak their way into another war, right? Because and the worst part about it is Netanyahu is trying to drag other players into his bullshit, right? Because he wants war with Iran. So I don't know, man. Like, this is Sunday's a big day. We're gonna have to report on Sunday because this shit, this got real. This got real, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Man, like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.